Hi, Dr. Peter Montgomery here, giving another COVID update. It is Cinco de Mayo, May 5th, and I haven't done a video in over a week, and so I thought they were getting kind of redundant. But things have changed a bit. We are getting out of the lockdown. Missouri ended our statewide mandatory lockdown. There's still countywide different restrictions depending on where you're at, having some flexibility. And things are changing. It's changing the curves on the predictions. And so I like to give everybody an update, see where I'm at, see where the next month, and kind of hint at how the summer is going to go, and just kind of give a few thoughts on that. So here we go. I'll show you my interpretation of the curves on the commonly available graphs on the web. Here's the U.S. weather map brought to you by Kinza, the thermometer that uploads your data to the internet for your temperature. There are millions of them throughout the U.S., and people checking their temperatures and uploading it gives us this current map. Currently, everything's at the lowest as it goes. We have hardly any recorded fevers in the U.S. This is where we were when the peak was happening, March 16th. This is about when the shutdown started happening. The blue line is over 10 years of data of people putting in their temperatures for this given day. Normally, not too bad, and we had been following that curve pretty good. And normally gets very low during the summer with an expected rate of just under 2%. The country having, people having fevers. And it got well above average. And if you look in some places, it get way up here in the 10% range for New York City and Miami and a few other places during this time. But nationwide, it came down very rapidly, slowed down a little bit, but still really low. And there have been almost no discernible fevers since, let's say, when our taxes were supposed to have been due, but they've been delayed. So 1 week, 2 weeks, pushing 3 weeks with no discernible fevers in the country. We have really locked down people. That has really changed outcomes. And that is going to go up. If we're going to relax, we're going to go up to normal. How quickly? I don't know. But right now, I'd say in the past 3 weeks, if you've run a fever, it's probably been COVID. And you should really pay attention to that and seek appropriate medical care. Now, looking at, there's a map by the University of Washington, and they are trying to predict what's going to happen. This is actual deaths that have been recorded. And here we are today. And everything was going down. And it was actually, it's hard to get my mouse to go here. But when I was watching it here before, it was predicting that deaths would get way down by June 1st. Then this bump happened. And that's reset all the calculations. And now they're like, it's not going to get down till August 1st. And that's assuming no other bumps, which there could be more, but still, that was a change in the past 2 weeks when this bump happened here. So that was significant. And with that bump, the predicted deaths, they predicted total deaths be around 1,000 out here, and now they're like could easily get up to 130,000. And by August 1st, now kind of looking out the rest of the summer, assuming no more worsenings, over 130,000. Now, put that in perspective. Your average flu season, about 30,000 people die. In a severe flu season, the vaccine was way off and things go bad. 100,000. This is going to be 130,000. That's the way it goes if things don't get any worse. So hospital resources, this is why I like this website. They give you hospital resources and you break it down by your state. And so resources use can go up. All resources, they got it down by hospital beds, ICU beds, and ventilators. Predicted. They've been very accurate. So you can click in your country and even your state. So I'm going to come down here, and I'm in Missouri, so I'm going to be Missouri focused here on this. We'll well be within our resources. We've increased resources. We've managed resources very well. We've done very well here in Missouri. ICU beds, if things go really bad, we could get peaky here at the end of June, but still predicting a big drop off. Ventilators, they don't have a top line, but again, with ICU beds go up with ventilators. We have enough ventilators and they have time to make ventilators. And a lot of people we're finding aren't needing ventilators. We're needing blood thinners because blood clotting seems to be the thing triggering most of the people to die. So you can look up your state if you want to, a state of loved ones where you want to on this website. But that's the predictions. Missouri, hopefully things will keep coming down, but if we're going to decrease socialization, which gave us this wonderful low fever map, if that's going to go away, if people are going to start spreading around, we are going to start spreading it some more. There's going to be more people catching it and more people dying. It is inevitable, though. I mean, this once the virus is out of the cage, a certain percent of the population will get infected, and a certain population will die. Your job as an individual is try not to be in that group, and so have good behaviors. If you have people who are not following good social distancing behaviors, then avoid them. So you've got to take care of yourself in this situation. Your job as an individual is trying not to be in the half that got it. You're trying to be in the half that won't get it. Once it gets to half or 70%, I'm not the epidemiologist. I've heard those numbers thrown around. When it gets around those numbers, we will start achieving herd immunity. And when someone gets it, they're less likely to give it to somebody else because people have already had it. There's questions about whether even having had it means you won't get it again. People get the common cold over and over again. People get strep over and over again. At least they usually have a weaker course each time they have it. But they can still be another source of spread. So there's still a lot we don't know. Working on it. This is worldwide numbers from Worldometer. And clicking on here, it's kind of like a NASCAR, watching a NASCAR race. There's just commercials for everything everywhere on this website, but the data is very accurate. 3.7 million known proven cases by tests. Most estimates say you can multiply that by 10 to get how many people have actually had the virus. Deaths are relatively accurate. There are under and over reporting of deaths. A lot of people dying of heart attacks, not even getting tested to see if that was COVID. A lot of people dying of strokes, not even getting tested. And we're finding out that a lot of people, when they go back and test them, they go, oh my gosh, they had COVID. Still had the virus in them. Still an active case. And there's also, over-reporting, some people just assuming they had COVID and not testing and reporting as a COVID death. But I would say actually that's the minority. Knowing how the system operates, I would say there's an under-reporting, not an over-reporting of the number of deaths. And there's also political under-reporting by some countries saying, oh, not happening here, and literally shoving things under the carpet or putting them in mass graves. So under-reporting is the norm of human behavior, nature, and honest mistakes in some cases. The numbers, this straight up line, of actual cases and deaths always look bad. Predictive logarithmic scales give you much more predictive as the curve flattens out over time. So the first curve was China, and they flattened out, and you can look at their numbers. They're doing a relatively good job of keeping a second wave under control. The rest of the world gets it, and we have not achieved that level of flatness. That's going to take another 2 months, at least another month. And then, they give each country, and, you go by dates. They're doing total number of cases. How well a country has done it, the best way to look at it is deaths per million. San Marino, a small city-state in Italy, in the worst part of Italy, had the worst. Belgium, next worst. Andorra. on those levels. But San Marino, 1,200 death per million. Next worth Belgium, Spain, Italy. All the that whole Western and Southern Europe had it very bad. United Kingdom doing very very poorly there. Also, and Sweden did no lockdown of the Scandinavian countries, did the worst of the Scandinavian countries. United States coming in here, and most of this is because New York is on the San Marino level. If we break it down in the U.S. and click on it, deaths per million, New York City is as bad as San Marino, the worst part of Italy. So they did not do a good job. They did not lock down early. They did not have enough resources ahead of time, and they overwhelmed the system. Is it possible they got a worse strain, more deadly strain of the virus? Yes. With more people concentrated there and really hard to control the spread? Yes. More older people who weren't healthy? Yes. More poor people who didn't have access to medical care because they couldn't get in? Yes. Everything that could have gone wrong went wrong in New York. New Jersey, Connecticut, Massachusetts. Finally, we get down to the numbers that are Italy. So these states had it as bad as Italy and Spain. United States total down here, different states. Thank goodness our most populous state, California, did a very good job. I'm in Missouri. We're on the same level. I think we've done a very good job here. So not every state has done bad. Again, that strain, New York got a lot of people coming over from Europe, from Western Europe. Was it just a really bad strain in Southern Western Europe, Italy, Spain, UK, Belgium, that area that got in there? Or was it just people living on top of people and not locking things down soon enough? So we are starting to ease up on the lockdown. So I'm afraid this weather map, we can watch it for your area, if we watch it for getting hot in there. We can watch this curve and hopefully see if it'll stay down and go down, down, down to zero. No, but to a level where the resources can handle it. That is the goal. What can you do as an individual? I'm still preaching my mantra of be the most excellent version of yourself. Be really healthy. Eat well, exercise every day. I'm a big fan of fresh fruits, vegetables, salads, beans, whole grains, eating less meat. People are dying from clots. People are dying from vascular issues, we're finding out. It's hard to get a test on some patients, and so there are surrogate tests. You can check for a C-reactive protein and a D-dimer. C-reactive protein tells the inflammation of your arteries. So I had someone who had a negative COVID test. The COVID test is only 60 to 70% accurate. In a negative COVID test, still running fevers of 100, still short of breath, still feeling awful. So I ran a C-reactive protein and a D-dimer. The C-reactive protein was high. The D-dimer was still elevated. Sent him for a CAT scan and a second COVID test. So it was those are things you can do as a backup. There's still people have 2 or 3 negative COVID tests still had COVID, and so going by symptoms, some is still short of breath. They need to be on oxygen. If they're running fevers, need to be watched. If they have elevated blood clotting numbers, they need to be on blood thinners in the hospital. So they should be getting aggressive treatment if those numbers are elevated until those numbers turn around. And so that's the situation we're in. So be the most excellent thing. What inflames your arteries? Eating red meat, chicken, fish, eggs. All sources of meat contain an amino acid called methionine that turns into homocysteine, and homocysteine inflames your arteries. It is a chemical we track for people who are like, why they have a heart attack when they didn't have high cholesterol? Because they had high artery inflammation from elevated levels of homocysteine. So if you can eat less inflammatory foods, eat more foods that decrease inflammation, fresh fruits, vegetables, salads, beans, and whole grains, this will do you best. Getting exercise once a day, even 15 minutes, some deep breathing, break a sweat, very good for you. Get good sleep. Take care of yourself. This, if you're a smoker, stop smoking. If you're overweight, start dieting. This is the time. Boy, waiting for a sign. This is your sign. This is it. Do the best you can and do not ignore symptoms. If you're running a fever for more than 5 days, it has a very predictable course. At about 5 to 6 days, things start to get worse. or better. If you're going to get better, great. If you're not getting better, then you're going to get worse. Don't put your head in the sand. Don't let your family member put their head in the sand. Get them to therapy. Get them checked out. Get a COVID test. Get some labs drawn. Get a CAT scan. And if everything's normal, then surveillance. Keep on it. So that's my advice to everybody. Time being, states and counties are decreasing their social isolation. Please keep isolating. We need to keep these curves down. This curve can go up again, and we don't want that. And so we're going to do our best to try and fight the curve going up. This curve was supposed to go down, and June was supposed to be over here, and this little bump alone is going to keep it out there for another 2 months before we get to the numbers that we were predicting there for June. So personally, wear a mask. I mean, don't be mean. There are people being mean to people who aren't wearing masks, and people who are being mean to people who are asking them to wear masks. It is wisdom. It is smart. Please wear a mask. Hand wash. Don't touch your face. The 5 W's I was calling it: washing, waving, wiping. Whoa, don't touch your face. And we all still need to be doing this as much as possible. The economy is hurting bad. Opening up stores, these things are going to happen to minimize the other damage. But that's going to keep prolonging this curve out, and we may not get to really low numbers then till October or a year. Trying to put a date on it actually can be defeating for your mood. So just say, this is what we're going to do. We're going to keep doing what we can. When things get better, they get better. People who have been in prison for long periods of time, prisoner of war, said, thinking that they're going to be out by Christmas or out by their birthday, actually crushed their mood when it didn't happen. So say, I'm just going to keep doing the best I can under these circumstances. When it's over, it's over. That's the mentally safest position to be in the long term, to fight depression and locked in syndrome of being, trapped, in cabin fever. So everybody hang in there. I'll try and give an update. I'll try and give a positive update. Right now, I'm positive that curves are improving, but we're still in cautious optimism here that this is going to get to these better numbers down here eventually by the end of the summer. And then we got to worry about back to school issues and see how that plays out. So hang in there, everybody. I'll give an update when I think it's helpful. Sadly, I'm just not that everyday update kind of guy. I have other things in my life I'm doing in family and work, but I'll do what I can when things change and I think it needs an update. So otherwise, keep updated with your personal healthcare person. I'm not trying to be that person. I'm trying to give you another source of input and source of encouragement to keep doing what we need to be doing to do the safe thing. So hang in there, everybody. Thanks. Bye-bye.